Well, y'all, Nicki Minaj is back on X, and she's coming for Jay-Z. So in a series of tweets, Nicki Minaj is claiming that Jay-Z owes her $100 to $200 million so far.
It all kicked off with one jaw-dropping confession. No one saw this coming. The kind of revelation that shakes the entire hip-hop hierarchy. When Nicki Minaj opened up about Jay-Z, she wasn't just talking about a bad business deal or some creative disagreement gone wrong. No, she hinted at something way...
Blogs and online platforms don't touch what she's saying, and they don't cover all of her words fully because it's Jay-Z and Roc Nation.
Well, I'll tell you this, I have no idea about their business, but if someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X, and I guarantee you if she ever took that to court, that would be a huge story.
More personal, something that cuts deep. According to Nicki, years ago, Jay-Z allegedly tried to turn what she thought was a friendly, professional relationship into something physical. When she rejected him, everything changed. She claimed her world, her career, her peace, her entire reputation started falling apart piece by piece under a quiet but deadly war that no one could see.
Apparently, Nicki Minaj has dragged Jay-Z to Philly. She blasts him for being evil and spiteful.
Now, we've all seen public beefs before, but this one hits different. Because if what Nicki's saying is even half true, it's not just gossip. It's a full-blown expose of how power gets used and abused behind the scenes in this industry. It's that silent kind of control that nobody talks about, but everybody knows exists. And the timeline? That's what really makes people sit up and pay attention.
Y'all really do not understand who I really am. Bring it, let's play. Y'all wanted attention, let's do it. Then she starts talking to the LAPD about something we have nothing to do with. And she's saying to Republic Records that they need to stand up for her any day now. Then she says, you'll regret it. Now, I've been going down the rabbit hole.
Here? Why did this happen?
Back in early 2021, Jay-Z sold Tidal for more than $300 million. A huge move that made headlines everywhere. But rewind to 2015 when it first launched, Nicki was one of the original artists promised equity, around a 3% stake, giving her ownership just like the others. When the money came rolling in though, she says she didn't see a dime, not even a penny. Nicki later posted that she promoted Tidal harder than anyone except Beyonce, putting her name and face on the line for a company she believed in. But when checks went out, her name wasn't there. Not in the payouts, not on the list. Nothing.
Nicki Minaj, she went on another Twitter rant and she still got Jay-Z and Roc Nation in every tweet. She be wilding on them. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never seen nobody come at Jay-Z this hard.
Industry insiders confirmed that several founding artists got millions from that sale. But Nicki? Nowhere to be found. By March 2024, things took a wild turn. A default judgment dropped on Nicki Minaj and her husband, Kenneth Petty, for $500,000. The case came from a security guard in Germany who claimed Petty hit him backstage during a show. But here's where it gets messy. Just 1 month later, that man's legal team moved in to seize Nicki's Hidden Hills mansion. We're talking about a $20 million estate she had bought less than 2 years before. Her dream home turned into a legal battlefield overnight.
Over and people were, you know what I'm saying?
But Kendrick Lamar is the hottest out right
He is
now.
though. Kendrick hot.
They're going to make their money.
By September, the LA Sheriff's Department officially confirmed the property levy, and people in the industry started connecting the dots. Because guess what? Just weeks before this all exploded, Nicki had finally said Jay-Z's name out loud, calling him out directly over the Tidal money scandal. And then, out of nowhere, her home, her image, her peace, all under fire. Paparazzi everywhere, headlines dragging her name through the mud, and suddenly every gossip blog owned by companies linked to Roc Nation was eating her alive. Coincidence? Or was someone trying to send a message?
So tell me about your relationship with Beyonce, because she's on a track here.
You know, everybody asks me that.
Whispers inside the industry said exactly that Jay-Z's camp allegedly wanted to remind her who really pulls the strings in this game. People started saying Nicki was getting a warning shot, that she had stepped on the wrong toes by exposing too much. Nicki herself seemed to believe it too. On October 15th, 2025, she shocked everyone by posting that she was canceling her next album. And she didn't sugarcoat it. She wrote directly to Jay-Z saying, "Hope you're happy now.
I hope it's worth losing everything, including your account, because Nicki Minaj has been on X saying that the blogs and online creators don't cover her and Jay-Z's back and forth the same way as they do everything else."
Well, it's not a back and forth.
It's definitely not a back and forth. I was about to, yeah, it's just been a forth.
That post hit the internet like a bomb. Within hours, her Instagram was gone, wiped clean. Fans panicked, thinking she had disappeared. And then, a few days later, her page came back, and with one wild upload, an AI image of Jay-Z wearing a bright pink wig captioned, "I am your karma." The post went viral instantly. For her supporters, it was Nicki taking her power back, her digital middle finger to the whole industry. But for the real ones who followed Nicki's journey from the very start, that post didn't look like a meltdown. It looked like a warning.
Yeah, so
What that got to do with Sister Minaj?
because there's a lot of fans online having a conversation right now following our interview if whether or not Kenneth, who's Nicki Minaj's husband, should be doing the same for Nicki Minaj because
Absolutely.
she's online and there's a lot of things that she's saying and
But that
different things
wasn't
that are
the reason
happening.
she shot at Charlamagne, was it?
No, forget me. Why did she come at Keisha? I don't understand. Like, what did anything Keisha have to say?
It was her way of saying she'd rather burn the whole system down than let it keep crushing her. She wasn't playing anymore, and the machine clearly didn't like that, because the minute Nicki stood her ground, the machine clapped back fast and loud. Enter Charlamagne the God, Jay-Z's longtime ally and major voice on iHeartRadio. Out of nowhere, he dedicated an entire Donkey of the Day segment on The Breakfast Club to Nicki Minaj. And he didn't hold back either. On air, he said, "Your energy is just stanking nasty," calling her recent posts and rants a cry for help from a wounded ego. It didn't sound like a critique. It sounded like a hit piece dressed up as concern. Within minutes, the clips were everywhere. TikTok, X, YouTube, you name it. The message was clear. Nicki was losing it, and people ate it up.
She is, I mean, just her name alone just defines greatness, right? You know, like just her.
But here's what the public didn't catch. That timing was too clean. That takedown aired just 48 hours after Nicki went online accusing Jay-Z's circle of blocking her from major radio interviews. Suddenly, she's being painted as unstable on the very platform allegedly connected to that same circle. Suspicious doesn't even begin to cover it.
I feel like I am like absorbing advice from her and like learning from her and stuff. And she'll tell me like, learn from my mistake. Like
Former iHeart staffers have whispered off the record that the Charlamagne segment had to be cleared through upper management. Executives who reportedly still have business ties to Rock Nation. It's like every move she made triggered another carefully placed hit to tear her down. Then things got scary. Not just shady, but dangerous. Nicki's home became the target of 4 separate swatting incidents. Armed police showing up at her house, sirens blaring while her toddler was inside. LAPD later confirmed the reports but said they hadn't identified any suspects. Nicki wasn't about to stay quiet anymore. She took it public.
The National Football League announced that West Coast rapper Kendrick Lamar will headline the Super Bowl 59 halftime show in New Orleans.
She demanded that authorities trace those terrifying swatting calls, claiming they were intimidation tactics meant to silence her. She went straight to social media, tagging Republic Records and people linked to Jay-Z, flat out saying she had proof of inside coordination. Her posts were bold, emotional, and loud. She wasn't hinting anymore, she was calling names. And then, just like that, the attacks stopped. No explanation, no arrest, no follow-up, just silence. But that silence spoke volumes. Whether or not anyone admitted it, the message had been delivered. They wanted her to know she could be touched even inside her own home. That's power, that's fear, and that's control. When you step back and look at the timeline, it doesn't feel random anymore. It looks like a step-by-step takedown. First came the money moves, the missing title payout, the lawsuits, the sudden wave of financial headlines painting her as broke or irresponsible. Then came the humiliation tour. Charlamagne's Donkey of the Day, Stephen A. Smith suddenly questioning her gratitude toward Jay-Z on live TV. And all those identical talking points echoing across major media platforms at the same time. It was like a script, and everyone had a role to play. And when that didn't break her, came the psychological hits. Her social accounts disappearing and reappearing. The online AI mockery, and those terrifying late-night raids. 1 or 2 incidents could have been brushed off as bad luck, but all of them together. That's a pattern too sharp to ignore. A former label exec even told us, when a woman in this business says no to the wrong man, they don't just cancel her. They erase her. That line hits hard because it feels real. You can see the erasure happening in real time, reputation by reputation, platform by platform. And what made it even darker? The way other industry names started to fall in line quick. Gucci Mane's wife, Keisha Cole, showed up on The Breakfast Club praising her husband's recovery and mental clarity. Literally within hours of Nicki's latest meltdown post, Nicki didn't hold back anymore. She straight up accused Keisha Cole of being there to keep Gucci sedated. Wild, right? At first, people thought she was just spiraling, but then she connected the dots, naming Charlamagne again. She called him out as Jay-Z's friend and business associate, claiming he was using iHeartRadio to run disgusting ploys against innocent families. Suddenly, what sounded like a rant started looking like a blueprint, a whole web of power and control. Same networks, same faces, same timing. It was too tight to be coincidence. Now, whether you believe every word Nicki said or not, one thing's for sure, her story's been consistent from the jump. She's been calling out the same names, the same patterns, the same moves. And while she kept speaking, Jay-Z stayed completely silent. Not one statement, not one interview, not even a whisper through Roc Nation's PR team. Instead, his people, the industry insiders, the media personalities, and even a few fake friends filled the silence for him. Suddenly, Nicki's every move was being painted as erratic, unstable, or self-destructive. Every headline, every soundbite, every podcast episode seemed designed to chip away at her credibility. It was like watching a coordinated takedown in real time. No bullets, just narratives. Things really hit a nerve when she questioned why Lil Wayne was denied the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show. She accused Jay-Z of using his influence to block it out of pure ego. Critics clowned her for inserting herself into other people's fights, but her reaction came from loyalty. Real loyalty. Wayne was the one who believed in her when nobody else did. Seeing him shut out in his own city, that wasn't just disrespect. To her, it was proof of the same quiet revenge she'd been warning about for years. By the end of October, everything was spiraling at once. Her mansion was still at risk of being seized, and court filings kept stacking up, all while she was trying to relaunch her empire under the new billionaire Barbie brand. But before she could even celebrate that move, the media storm hit again. As if on cue. Suddenly, every outlet started dragging up her husband's old probation and conviction records. The same stories, recycled across every major entertainment site within hours. No new info, just old dirt repackaged. They didn't even bother digging up new dirt. They just recycled the old stuff under shiny new headlines. Same stories, same wording, just repackaged to keep Nicki's name buried under chaos. Media analysts later called it what it was: a refresh cycle, a sneaky PR tactic used to drown out current scandals with recycled controversy. And guess whose fingerprints were all over the top of that cycle? The same familiar names tied to Roc Nation's massive content network. It's like every road leads right back to the same castle. All of it circles around one bone-chilling question. If what Nicki's been saying is true, that a private rejection turned into a professional vendetta, then what else might be hiding underneath hip-hop's biggest empire? Because this goes way beyond just celebrity drama or gossip blogs. Nicki has hinted that lawyers, broadcasters, and even people inside law enforcement have been caught up in that same circle of power, all protecting one man's reputation at any cost. Now, we're not saying it's all confirmed, but look at the pattern. The timing, the silence, the repetition. They scream louder than any denial ever could. If Jay-Z could allegedly pull strings across legal teams, radio personalities, and even police operations just to punish a woman for saying no to him, then what does that say about everyone else trapped under that same system? Who else got silenced? And even scarier, who's next? But underneath that question lurks one even darker. What Nicki revealed next wasn't just about revenge or pettiness. It hinted at a network so powerful, so untouchable, that even Beyonce herself might be tangled in the middle without realizing it. That $500,000 judgment against Nicki Minaj, it was never just some courtroom technicality. It hit like a financial guillotine. It cut straight through her leverage, her freedom, and her power to fight back. Right when Nicki was finally trying to take her brand back into her own hands, boom, another hit landed. Out of nowhere, a creditor named Thomas Biden Mueller came forward, claiming she owed him money from that old 2019 security guard incident overseas. But what really made it creepy wasn't the claim itself. It was how fast the whole thing moved. Once Nicki started publicly calling out Jay-Z, it was like someone flipped a switch. Within just a few months of her social media explosions, that levy on her $20 million Hidden Hills mansion popped up like clockwork. To the average fan scrolling through headlines, it probably looked like another celebrity drowning in legal drama. But to the people paying attention, the ones who've been connecting the dots, it looked like something else entirely. Pressure. A warning shot. A quiet reminder of what happens when you challenge one of the most powerful circles in entertainment. That seizure notice wasn't just paperwork. It was a message. A message about control, submission, and who really calls the shots in this game. And the pattern? It traces straight back to Tidal, the same streaming platform Jay-Z sold in 2021 for around $302 million. Nicki's been saying for years that her promised stake, worth somewhere between $100 and $200 million, just disappeared. On paper, every founding artist was supposed to receive equity and payouts when the deal closed. But according to people close to the situation, her name mysteriously vanished from the final documents. So was it just business? Or was it payback? Punishment for saying no to the wrong man? The silence around it only makes it worse. When Nicki demanded answers, transparency, receipts, anything, Roc Nation and Block Inc. went completely quiet. Not a single explanation, not a single correction. Years passed and still nothing but crickets. Then, like clockwork, the moment she brought the issue up again online this fall, boom! Her legal problems started flaring back up. For those really watching, it didn't look like bad luck. It looked like two battles from the same war hitting her from different sides at the same time. Financial retaliation, all dressed up to look like coincidence. Every move, every headline, every random setback, it started to feel way too calculated. And behind those corporate walls, one name kept popping up over and over again. Desiree Perez, the CEO of Roc Nation. The same woman who was once pardoned by a former president. According to insiders who've been close to label negotiations, Perez allegedly played a key role in pushing major platforms to minimize risk when it came to Nicki Minaj. Translation? Quietly telling brands and streaming services to back away, to stop booking her for collaborations and appearances. All this happening while Nicki's own label, Republic Records, was reportedly split right down the middle. Executives who were loyal to Nicki started whispering that internal audits suddenly kicked off right after she went public about the missing title money. And right in that same window, those mysterious swatting calls started up again. 4 separate times, armed police stormed her home while her child was there. No arrests, no answers, no suspects, just intimidation wrapped in official procedure. It's a pattern that's hard to ignore. Financial audits, police raids, vanishing social media accounts, all the classic tactics used to crush a person's credibility before they can even speak. You destroy their peace, their confidence, their sanity, and then watch the world turn against them. Then came the private leaks. Screenshots started flooding gossip blogs, the ones that just so happen to specialize in Roc Nation exclusives. These alleged texts between Nicki's team and industry fixers painted her as unstable, in debt, and difficult to work with. None of it was verified, not one shred of proof. But the optics? Devastating. Every new leak became another excuse to drag her name, another wave of headlines to make her look unhinged. A former road manager told us straight up, it's not about truth, it's about exhaustion. They make you too tired to keep fighting. Every tweet, every rant, every argument, all of it became ammo for the people who wanted Nicki Minaj shut down. Every time she spoke up, they twisted it into proof that she was unstable, feeding the narrative they'd been building from day one. But in the middle of all that chaos, one name stayed completely untouched: Beyonce. Then, Nicki dropped a bomb. She posted one cryptic line, Beyonce knew. That was all it took to send the industry into full panic mode. Because if Jay-Z really did make an advance toward Nicki years ago like she claims, the question everyone's now asking is, what did Beyonce know and when? Publicly, Queen Bey has kept it graceful, calm, completely composed. No statements, no reactions, nothing but silence. But behind that silence, insiders say her team has been working overtime, calling radio programmers, producers, even stylists, warning them not to bring up the topic around her. Every move seems carefully choreographed to keep the image of perfection spotless. According to one longtime industry insider, they can't afford for this to look like betrayal inside the royal family of music. And that right there says it all. Because if there's even a grain of truth in Nicki's story, Beyonce's silence isn't just about dignity, it's about survival. The stakes are sky high. For years, Jay-Z and Beyoncé have been treated like the ultimate power couple. A dynasty that turned fame into generational wealth and influence. Their image is more than a marriage. It's a brand. But if Nicki's claims start cracking that image, it's not just drama anymore. It's the collapse of a myth. Sources close to Roc Nation have whispered that NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, were quietly rolled out again to keep former contractors from saying a word about any disputes involving female artists. Meanwhile, word around certain studios is that legal teams are combing through old contracts to tighten up loyalty clauses, making sure nobody talks no matter what they know. Nobody wants to be the next headline. The whole thing feels less like a PR cleanup and more like containment. At this point, social media has become Nicki Minaj's final weapon, her digital battlefield. After she dropped that haunting AI image of Jay-Z in a bright pink wig with the caption, "I am your karma," she didn't stop there. She followed it up with a series of explosive posts calling out the entire music establishment, accusing powerful insiders of blackballing her from interviews, award shows, and major festivals. She even dared her own label to pick a side, to finally stand up for her instead of hiding behind corporate silence. In one post, she hinted that she's been saving real evidence for court, writing that the same business managers who stole from me are still working for them. That line alone sent shockwaves across the industry. Whether her claims ever turn into a legal storm or not, one thing's clear. Nicki has turned into something way bigger than just an artist at war. She's become a symbol, proof of what happens when someone on the inside refuses to play by the unspoken rules. And behind the scenes, fear is spreading like wildfire. Smaller artists have started whispering about mysterious cancellations that happen after they show public support for Nicki. Podcasters have allegedly received quiet calls from advertisers reminding them which topics are off limits. It's all whispers and warnings, the kind of behind-the-curtain power plays that say more about fear than fame. And then there's Beyonce's camp, reportedly keeping a running list of blogs, podcasts, and media outlets to monitor for emerging narratives. That's not casual PR management, that's full-scale containment. Moves like that only happen when an empire starts feeling tremors under its feet. The strangest part, the more Nicki speaks, the quieter everyone else becomes. The silence wraps tighter around her every time she posts, like the industry's holding its breath. And what makes it even scarier is how the whole thing gets turned into entertainment. Every rant, every deleted tweet, every cryptic image becomes viral content for fans to dissect. But behind all that chaos, there's a pattern that's too precise to ignore. You can practically see the pattern playing out in real time. Every time Nicki Minaj speaks out, a media storm hits right after, then comes the fallout. Another lawsuit, another cancellation, another headline designed to chip away at her credibility. It's like a perfectly timed cycle, a setup that waits for her to crack, and the moment she finally reacts, they point and say, "See, She's unstable. What the public calls a breakdown might actually be something way darker. The scars of long-term manipulation and isolation. Behind the glitz and the cameras, industry whispers are growing louder. People are starting to admit that Nicki's so-called volatility is being used against her, twisted into a weapon. The same executives who once fought to sign her are now hiding behind unpredictability clauses. Insurance companies reportedly flag her as a liability, and even the publicists who used to ride for her are quietly walking away, pretending they need a break. It's a pattern we've seen before. Powerful women in entertainment pushed to exhaustion, then labeled crazy just to invalidate everything they say. The narrative of madness becomes the perfect shield for everyone benefiting from her silence. Her anger, her exhaustion, her frustration, all rewritten as hysteria. It's not just cruel, it's calculated. And the irony? The more Nicki fights back, the stronger that label sticks. Every clapback, every deleted post, every tear gets turned into proof that she's losing it. When maybe she's just tired of being gaslit by the entire system. If even part of Nicki's story holds weight, then this isn't about one celebrity having a meltdown. It's about an industry that builds obedience through fear and destroys anyone bold enough to resist. The whispers, the headlines, the endless ridicule, they don't just shape perception, they control it. It's a form of soft censorship, making rebellion look like insanity and defiance look like self-destruction. The scariest part of all this? If someone like Nicki Minaj, one of the most successful, outspoken, and powerful women in music, can be dragged, silenced, and erased this easily, then imagine what they can do to someone without that kind of reach. That's the real nightmare. Because when you strip away the celebrity glitz and the gossip, this story isn't just about revenge. It's about power, ownership, and control. Nicki might be out here fighting for her mansion, her money, and her name, but deep down, what she's really fighting for is the right to exist outside the machine that built her. The right to say no. The right to walk away without being destroyed. And if what she's saying is even half true, then we're not just watching another celebrity scandal. We're witnessing one of the most calculated acts of retaliation in modern music history. It's a system built to punish disobedience, to erase those who won't play along, and then rewrite history so nobody ever questions it again. And that brings us to the question that nobody in the industry dares to answer. If this could happen to Nicki Minaj with all her fame, her millions, and her massive global fan base, yet what chance does anyone else have? Could those same forces already be working behind the scenes against smaller artists? The ones we'll never hear about because their voices get shut down before they even reach the mic? The idea alone is chilling. So what do you think? Is this just drama spun out of control, or are we watching a real power struggle unfold in front of our eyes? Drop your thoughts down below. I want to know what side you're on. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. It helps me a lot and keeps this conversation alive. Until next time, stay sharp, stay watching, and remember, in a world ruled by quiet power, truth is the one thing they still can't control.